All right, year two. We have some of the foundation done. Now what?
Change your stands that you got wrong. Change your blinds if you got them wrong. If you did any of those, if you did the blinds, you probably didn't put blinds up. But if you did, move them around. I would check for invasives in the timber. I would see how things are looking. And every year that goes by when you did TSI, it's just going to start filling in more. It's going to get better. So the first year's great. Second year's better. Third year's better. And it peaks out 3 or 4 years. It really does peak out. So you're pretty good. Just light little maintenance in the timber. And then now you're wanting to really dial in your soils for fertility, for pH, making sure they're spot on. And hopefully you did that to some extent the year before. The one thing I would put in, not the first tier by far, but maybe down the road, maybe this is second year, is stuff like tree plantings. And I would start, if somebody's like, well, I have two types of tree plantings. One is like the large scale, like I'm going to order 2,000 trees from the state nursery, and I'm going to use a tree planter and do those. Don't do that year two. That's not a year two project. It's not.
Why
I would
is
do
that?
like, because there's a huge learning curve with that. It's just, I would rather see somebody plant 50 the first year and learn how it works, learn how the herbicides work, learn how the survival rate works and the deer browse. I've seen so many guys go out and buy 2,000 trees or 10,000 trees or 500 trees, and like they all died. Happens all the time, and that takes so much work, so much money, and they don't know how, and then they get overwhelmed. Understand what you're getting into. So this is like starting in the shallow part of the pool. Do it. Start in the shallow end of the pool. And I'm talking like, if you're going to like, hey, I want to plant trees, to have trees, like 50 trees, 20 trees. Don't do it like 2,000, and those are just random numbers, but I think it illustrates it pretty well. Don't do that large scale stuff. I've done it, and sometimes it's worked out okay, sometimes it didn't work out well. And the amount of people I see with tree failures is incredible. Now,
Are the failures from? What are the failures from? Like, why do they fail? Is it the weather? Is it just, man, we got a hot summer, and I wasn't able to keep up with watering them, or how they planted them?
there's your issue, is there's so many things that can go wrong.
Yeah, that's fair.
So you get a drought last year, hey, it didn't rain for 2 months. If you didn't water your trees, they died.
Yeah.
Then your other thing is like, hey, I planted those into sod. I never did any weed control, and I somebody told me that that's better, is to leave it with fescue growing all around it. Well, that's going to choke them out and suck the moisture out of them, and they're going to die, or they get infested with weeds. I mean, and there's so many reasons. And then, hey, yeah, I planted all these shrubs that the deer love to browse on, or all these trees. I didn't protect them. I did nothing. I just left them be, walked away. And yeah, they all die. They all die. And I've seen that a lot. Now I've seen it where some die, and I've seen it where none die. Very few die, but that's the exception. The first time, the first go around for somebody, just do less. Just do like 20 or 50 or something like that. And I'd rather see you do 20 or 50 and protect them and watch them and babysit them and look at them kind of once a month and be like, hey, they're doing great. Or, whoa, I'm glad I caught this. The deer were nipping these off. Or maybe somebody tubes them and they realize their tubes are getting tipped over. And, I put 2 stakes, big stakes in each tube. That's just what I do, because I don't want them getting knocked over in the wind and deer knock them over. So there's all these things with tree planting. So just do a little and experiment, and just realize you might fail. But at least you failed with 20 trees and not 2,000 trees. You might fail. And just don't give up. Just repeat, repeat, repeat. And if you failed with 20 trees and it was a total failure, plant 20 trees again. Don't go to 2,000 then. Never increase that number until you can get 20 trees to grow successfully. Don't ever increase it. So whatever you start out with, if it's a total success, you'll know then. You'll know the answer. Okay, I got 20 to go great, and I know this now. I got it down pretty well. Now I dare to plant 500. Then do it, but don't do it first step. The other one I would dare to do year one, just because I do like getting a little head start on it. It's a delayed gratification by a long ways, is your fruit trees. Is it priority one? No, it's not. But I do like starting it a little bit early if you're a person who can have the patience for fruit trees, who wants fruit trees. and can deal with some frustrations, because fruit trees have some frustrations, and I've learned all those lessons. But I do like getting a head start, so you're like, hey, because guys will own ground for 10 years and they'll be like, dang it, I wish I would have done fruit trees earlier. And they take some time. It's not as much time as what you think. But then again, with the fruit trees, it's the same thing. You have to do everything just spot on. Like, hey, I planted my fruit trees and I didn't cage them. You're done. Game over. Or even I planted my fruit trees, I'll come back next time in a week and cage them next week. No, the deer ate all your buds. They're gone. Or, you know, the fruit trees, like not knowing how to plant them, and hey, I dug up a bunch of soil and I didn't quite get all the soil back in, and now they're kind of sunk in a little bit and they died. Yeah, they drowned. You got to learn this stuff. Add a little bit more soil, because when you break that up, the oxygen comes out of the soil, and you know, the earthworm channels and stuff like that. So you put the same amount of soil back and it sunk in. Yeah, it's because you took all those pockets out. So add a little bit more soil so it stays a little bit above grade, just a little. And then weed protection and spraying them. And clearly we want to go towards disease resistance, the most resilient trees for your area, and I can give you that list very succinctly with fruit trees in the Midwest, what I would do. But we always want to do more disease resistant, so you don't have to mess with them near as much, but still understanding you might still have to address some things.
Hope you guys enjoyed this. My name is Jake Hofer, and I'm a real estate agent out of the state of Illinois, and it's my goal to help 100 people buy their first farm. Been doing that with the Land Podcast and clips like this every single Thursday and Saturday that are released here on the channel. And to be one of those 100 people, all you have to do is, if you're in the state of Illinois and I can help you, I'd be happy to do so. Number two, if you want to get connected with someone that can help you, reach out, and I'll be happy to get you in contact with an agent that I would personally do business with. And the last one is, if you just simply learn something from the content we're putting out, or you get inspired to take action, I want to know, get you out of that spreadsheet. I'm on a mission to help 100 people. Until next time, see ya.